Now, if you're building a high-end workstation build, you don't necessarily have to make it ugly. I know you really want to, but there's nothing forcing you to do that. So with that said, here's a recent build I recommended to a client of mine for someone who is not a gamer, but still wants very high-end performance and doesn't want a closed-up black box. Now, of course, we're going with an AM5 platform, and since we're not gamers, we're not getting the 9950X 3D. We're getting the normal model, the 9950X. And after the X3D came out, those have been dropping in price by a lot. And if you want to go used, you can actually pick one up for around 350 bucks, which makes it a very good buy, surprisingly. But where else can you get 16 cores with 32 threads of the latest architecture for that price? Let me know. Now, people think that since you're buying a top-of-the-line CPU, you need to overspend on your motherboard, and that's not the case, but you don't want to underspend either. Since this is going to be a productivity build, you do want an X870. Don't go with a B850 because you're going to want multiple SSDs, the expandability, the extra I/O on the back, and all those things. So I went with a simple Gigabyte motherboard, which I bought for relatively cheap compared to how overpriced those motherboards are, of course. I also managed to save money by buying probably my favorite RAM kit for the 64GB combo at the moment, and it's some Kingston Fury Renegade White ARGB, which also look nice, but they come in at around 200 bucks for 64GB of 6000 MHz low latency stuff. And 6000 MHz is exactly where you want to be with AM5, and you also want to run ideally just 2 sticks because this dramatically improves your chances of getting it running properly. With Kingston RAM, I have never had it fail an XMP or EXP, I should say, out of the box on AM5, which is why I'm going with this quite a lot lately. And it's also why I went with their Kingston Gen 5 NVMe drive as well, the Renegade G5. Now, this comes out with no heatsink, but they also have a heatsink model, but if you have a good motherboard, you don't need the heatsink, so you can save some money there and also make the motherboard look better. And it's also relatively affordable for 2 TB of drive. Now, this one I fully reviewed with the speed in my previous PC build, but I will put the crystal disk mark over here again. It's really fast. It's competing, of course, with the best in the market, with Samsung, Crucial, etc. And it's also winning price value for money, at least in Europe at the moment. Now, to cool all that, this is where I chose the only ARGB part of the build other than the RAM, and it's the new Valkyrie V360 Lite. Now, here Valkyrie decided to cut down on the premium packaging because I think they went a bit overboard with the Cine 360. That thing was sick to unbox, but you had separated fans from the all-in-one, so you had to screw them in manually all the time, whereas most of the time you just mount it vertically. So this time they listened to the feedback and actually put it all together, which I like. They also got rid of the multiple compartment box, which was really cool, but made the cooler heavier to ship. And also, as someone who builds a lot of PCs per week, it was taking me quite a bit more time to get it done, whereas this took me 5 minutes to install. They still kept the premiumness in the accessories, and the way you build it is very good. They also now added some replacement bracket which go in place of the original brackets on AM5. So you just put those in, and it's basically like a square to hold your cooler, which makes it spread out even better. And they also have some new paste, which I find is running a bit better than the old one, even though marginally. So that we like. It is all daisy chained out of the box, even though with proprietary connector. That's probably the only critique I have. But it ends up going in a single 3-pin because the pump also connects to that. And of course the pump is magnetic, fully detachable, and actually makes for some convenient placing inside the case of the motherboard. So that really we like so far. But we'll cover the performance later because it has some surprises for us. Now, our case choice is very debatable. So this time I went for the Fractal North XL in white, the one with the tempered glass. And there is the version without tempered glass where you have more fans on the side, and I would actually get that if you want, but the client wanted this. And I find the front wood really matches this Zotac 5090 which we've gotten. Now, this card I reviewed on the channel. If you saw the review video, you know I'm not exactly saying this is a great card, but this guy fits exactly the kind of client which may appreciate a card like this, because you're saving 300 to 400 bucks compared to the top-of-the-line model. Most of that is in the aesthetics, and a little bit of that is in the noise. But the Fractal Nord is not too bad noise-wise once it's closed, and it's also pretty well ventilated. Now, it is not a glamorous case by any means, but it's something a professional can have. If you turn off the RGB, this is going to be a very sleek PC to have in your office. What you should be questioning is my power supply choice, because I went with a Thermaltake 1200 watts PSU. Now, if you're going Ryzen 9 plus 5090, you pretty much have to go the 1200 watts PSU, but here we had a relatively tight budget. Even though it's a high budget, it was a tight budget. So we went with a little bit of lower end power supply, but it's still doing the job. Of course, you should undervolt your system to make it draw less power and run better. And of course, I have a video for both the 9950X, but also the 5090. It's actually based on this exact Zotac, so if you want, go check it out. Putting the PC together was super easy because if you don't have a lot of RGB fans, controller, and strange things, you can do it in like 2 hours. And check out this Windows install time. This is where the Gen 5 speed comes in handy here, and actually more seriously, when you're exporting your projects and videos out and you're doing renders for hours, that's when the Gen 5 speed saves you. Since now they're finally affordable, I think if you're a professional, you should get a Gen 5 if you're moving large files for sure. It's gonna be a great investment. Now, surprisingly, this PC runs very cool. And I say surprisingly because this water cooler is actually quite cheap. It's a lot cheaper than the Sin. We are hovering around the $100 mark this time compared to the 200 of last time. Sure, we lost the LCD screen, and sure, it looks like it's only half illuminated, but it's actually the design where it shows you all the caps and the magic that's happening inside the cooler itself. And we also have a nice infinity mirror with the Valkyria logo. So I kind of like it, but I like it especially because if you check out these temperatures, it's keeping this beast of a CPU at around 70 degrees while being reasonably quiet. Now, if we do launch a hard render at stock, it's gonna go in the 80s still, which is gonna be a bit high. But if you undervolt it, you can keep it under 80, no problem. Even with the 5090 putting out 600 watts of load inside this case. I did run a quick Firestreak test, of course, because come on, we test a lot of games on the channel, so we may as well see how it does in some graphics, gaming-oriented tests. And as you can see, it runs quite well, but it does lose against higher tiers 5090 models, and of course, gaming-oriented CPUs. But this is not why we're here, and I'm pretty happy with the results, with the overall quality of life while using this PC. But I want to hear what you guys think. Do you dig this kind of aesthetics, or would you want me to try some other case for some more workstation oriented builds? Or do you think they should just be with zero RGB because a professional needs to be professional all the time? Let me know down below. If you watched the video this far, remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.